Welcome to Kingdom Builder TV. I'm Kelly Mead, co-hosting today with Jay Heilman, and we are so excited to have a couple of guys from one of our favorite bands, Michael Tait and Jeff Frankenstein of Newsboys, here to talk about their brand new album, Worldwide Revival, available everywhere now. Michael and Jeff, how are you guys?
We're doing fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks for asking.
Yes, we are.
Worldwide Revival feels like a new start for you guys and like a brand new chapter. And it's the first album since having Adam Agee join the band. It's been really cool to see the new dynamic of you guys on stage, and I think he's been such a great addition.
Awesome. Yeah, we think so too. Adam's been a good friend of ours for many years. So I think he had like a 20-year vetting process before we decided to add him. But yeah, we toured together all the way back to the Go Tour in the late 2000s, and he's opened for us on many tours. Did lots of shows with Stellar Cart back in the day, and he's been on our tours for like the last 10 years. So
makes sense.
It was kind of like when we were going into this new project and this new season of the band. So we were just like, why don't you just join us? And it's just been better than we even expected. You know, he's a veteran kind of like us, of a similar mind, and it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely, the sum is greater than the equal of its parts, or whatever that phrase is.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, the Newsboys, actually, you guys, the Newsboys as a band is basically next year going to be like a band for 40 years. And Jeff, you've been a part of that band for almost 30 years now. And Michael, you know, I was thinking the other day when we were like kind of preparing for this interview that, you know, you've been with the Newsboys for 15 years now, and that's about how long that you had done DC Talk with, you know, Toby and Kevin. You know, what are your thoughts, and how do you feel when you think back at the fact that you've been with the Newsboys for 15 years and that you guys are still, you know, making new music and remain a big part of the Christian music scene?
A power pack question there, young man, but I'll try to unpack it for you. Number one, back to Frankenstein. The guy's been in the band for 31 years, and he looks like he's seriously like he's 35, which is weird to think that he's been in the band that long. So it may sound like we've been on for a long time, and they have, but it ain't showing, which is good. Number two, yes, I've been in this band longer than I was in DC Talk. Jeff is the historian. He says I've been in the band for 15 points.
Yeah, about 15 years.
About 15 years. You know, minus 2 for COVID. But we feel, I mean, I love it. I feel honored. I'm just honored to be, and humbled to still be able to do music on this level, this long, whether it be Tait Band, whether it be DC Talk, obviously now Newsboys. It's been an integral part of my life, and it's what we do, you know. We're musical missionaries, and people still find us, you know, relative, thank the Lord. More importantly, God finds us usable, which is the biggest honor. But we have generations that come to our shows. We have 8-year-old girls that come, or 15, 13, 14-year-old boys and girls that come with their moms and dads who are in their, you know, late 30s, early 40s, and they bring their parents who are in their 60s. It's like, it's a cool thing, man. And Newsboys just goes on and on and on. Keeps on ticking.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed the last 15 years you've been a part of the band, because I actually saw one of your first shows. It was back in 2009.
Where was it? Tell me where it was. Where was it?
It was Night of Joy. It was at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That was actually one of the first shows that you had done after you joined the band. But Peter had also come and been on stage, and that was the last time for a long time that he had been on stage. And I'll be honest, I was like, when I first heard that you were joining the band, I'm like, Michael's an amazing singer. I said, but how is this going to mesh together? And over the last 15 years, you have proved that, you know, it's definitely worked out. And I love just what you have brought to the band. And it's just amazing to see what God continues to do with all of you, all of these years. I think it's amazing.
I think a willing heart is the biggest part, you know. We want to be used by God, and it's kind of what we signed up for, and God's delivered. It hasn't always been easy. There's some rough patches here and there, but I'm encouraged every day because His mercies are new every day, and Amen. We're just blessed. It's a way to do it. And we just had a couple of days of vacation, not vacation, but kind of time off in the cabins in the woods, just hang out. No TVs, barely any cell service. Just hang out with the boys. I'm telling you, bro, I get choked up about it. I love these guys. Yeah, we have our tough days. We have our times we fight like brothers. We're just being honest, you know? But man, I love conversations when they're so sweet and they're so dear with your friends. It's like, what a blessing, you know? Stuck in a Jeep for hours on the back road, heading to a cabin. This is Newsboys to me. You guys get the music is a, excuse for us to hang out, pretty much. But this is ministry to me, having brotherhood like this. It's rare, you know?
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love seeing you guys, like I said earlier, on stage together. You just look like you have so much fun, and it's just a blast to watch. So with this new project, it's awesome hearing the worship anthems like the title track, Worldwide Revival, and Heaven on Earth. But as I've been listening to it more, the two songs that really stand out to me are How Many Times and Color. So I'm curious if you guys have had a couple of songs that have come to mean a little bit more to you throughout the recording process of the album.
Thank you, Frankie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing about this record that's probably a little bit different than some in the past was like the quality control process on the songwriting was very intense.
Yes.
We felt like we weren't going to put it out unless we felt like there was something special in the songs and there was something like meaningful, like deep and meaningful
Yeah.
in the lyrics. And I think you mentioned How Many Times, which is kind of touches on what we were just talking about.
Yep.
There's very few bands that have been together for over 30 years and toured the world together. And, we were just having lunch just a few minutes ago and we were talking about humble beginnings and where we started from and that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of what the song is about. It's about how sometimes you do go through rough patches in life and as Christians sometimes it's confusing, and then you can look back after years or maybe even decades and say, wow, I went through that because God was teaching me this. And so like when you've been a band as long as we have, there's a lot of those stories, there's a lot of those moments where you feel like, oh man, what are we doing? And then you realize that it was all for this. And so you bring up that and the video as well that we just did that just came out last week for it.
Killer video. You freaking
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
I was able to be one of the directors on that, but we really wanted to like put us in our natural habitat with our instruments in a room. So we rented a house in Nashville, an old 50s ranch, and basically just tore the whole place apart and decorated it as if it was like our private rehearsal area and filled it with just stuff that we found in our houses, memorabilia, pictures, like basically everything that is in that house that you see in the video has special meaning to us, whether it's like a picture or an instrument or something like that. So, and it just kind of ties into the lyric of just how God is faithful to us. We're so unfaithful to him so many times, but so the song was just like basically just gratitude, for what God's allowed us to do. Really, it's not anything
all through the years.
It's not anything that we're that special or that we think we're that special. We're all, we're humans just like anybody else, have the same, problems everyone else has. But I think we're all like, if you put us in a room together, I think that's what you will see recently is that we're just so grateful to just be friends and do what we love. I mean, life is hard. People have jobs they hate, and when we leave and hit the bus and see each other, like it brings
fun
joy
every
to all
time.
of us. Yeah, and so hopefully, like you said earlier, what you see on stage is real because those relationships really do exist behind the scenes.
They've been tried, true, and tested. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Aaron.
And that's the one fortunate thing about us is the view that we see. We see not only the view that the fans see at shows and stuff, but our good buddy Steve Campbell, you guys' awesome tour manager. We've been able to spend time with you guys behind the scenes, backstage and stuff. And people oftentimes ask me when they see pictures, like, how are these guys in real life when they're not in front of a camera or they're on stage in something? And you guys have come up because I've posted pictures. They're like, and I tell them, I'm like the Michael Tait, Jeff Frankenstein, the guys you see on the stage are the guys that you see backstage. I said, they're no different. And I said, that's the one thing I really like is that you guys have really managed to, keep that honest and forefront. And I think that's really cool. And that video was cool too, because you got all those Easter eggs in there, Jeff. It's like, it's very nostalgic, kind of brings back memories of Newsboys past. And the other thing I was thinking about is you guys tour and record so much. You're always on the road, it seems. It's like I'm thinking, okay, it's been a while since I've seen the Newsboys. I want to see them. Bam, they're coming to my town again. So you guys are do a lot of recording, writing, and on the road, and yet you have another full calendar this year. And I'm curious, of these new songs on this record, which ones do you like to perform live?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because as soon as we're off the phone with you here, off this call, we're headed back up to the stage this afternoon to run through a bunch of them. So we've been putting them into the show as we go and trying to see where they fit in the set. But like, there's nothing more exciting for us than to, take new songs out on the road and try them out. And so we'll be doing a lot of that over the coming weeks. But it's, the recording process and the touring process are so different,
Yeah.
The recording process was 18 months of just being, not so much me, but like Tait and Adam being stuck in a room with a microphone and like no people around, nobody around, like just like working hard, trying to like refine these songs and get them where they need to be. And then like after like basically being a squirrel secluded away, like then you play them in front of like thousands of people. They
It's
get
the
to see
weirdest
them. So
thing.
it is
Yeah.
it's a very fun time right now for us. Like we like new music, especially when you're excited about it. There's
That's
no,
general consensus. You get a new
Yeah.
song. Please, what's your favorite song? Well, the new song we're playing.
Yeah.
At the time.
It's fun.
I still enjoy God's Not Dead, but now I enjoy War Revival,
Yeah.
Heaven on Earth, and How Many Times.
Yeah.
It's like just adding little
Family members.
Get to the quiver. Songs to the quiver, yes.
Very cool. And Jeff, we talked a little bit about how you're involved with the creative process for the videos that we see on the stage too. And that's always one of my favorite parts of the live shows is getting to see like the combination of the songs and then the video behind you guys. So what does it mean to you to be able to have that creative aspect as well as playing in the band?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, I think, we're all very creative and our show is obviously a team effort. Most of the things I do, I'd never thought that I would do for this band. It's not like I grew up and went to college and wanted to be some video director or producer or anything like that. It's just, I think over time, it's just been like the opportunities get presented to you and like, I'm always up for a challenge. Like, I could probably do that. I'll give it a shot. And the next thing you know,
he's killer at it. Who knew that?
Well, you're doing it and it's fun. It's just another extension of us as a band.
But in some ways, it's probably desperate times, desperate measures too, Jeff, because sometimes we can't find video guys we really want to
and I've
partner with. Jeff has a great one, he's partners with.
I've been blessed with really great like mentors in my life too, who everybody needs that believes in you and your ability. And we had a production manager one time came up to me and he's like, you should do this. I think you'd be good at it. And I really had no idea what I was doing. I downloaded a program from the internet and started messing around and loved it so much. I've gone on to do it for lots of other artists too. So, it's just, it's just a lot of fun. It's like, I think we all love being able to impact people at a show. Like when we're working on projects or videos or whatever, it's like you have to think of things through the eyes of your fans, like what would make them happy or what would wow them or what would have meaning to them. So I think that's why we're still here today, honestly, after all these years, because we are a band for the fans. Like
no two ways about it.
Whenever there's a VIP or a meet and greet or you see us backstage, like everyone's got a story, like either they met us somewhere in person before, which like no one meets each other in person in a virtual world, or they have a story about how their kids grew up on this and that. And
they never met us. They saw the movie God's Not Dead and they found out about us in the movie.
It's like we've done things the old fashioned way for years, by just meeting people and smiling and shaking hands with people. Like in the digital age we live in now, it's pretty rare. So I think it means a lot to people, and it means a lot to us too. And I think what you said earlier too about the backstage camaraderie, it extends beyond the band, all of our crew guys in that bus out there, like they were with us even before all the COVID shutdowns. And when we didn't do shows for 2 years, we just went camping with everybody. And like when you're on our bus, like all of our band and crew are pretty equal. We all ride together, we sleep together in the the bunk area, we eat together. Nobody's higher up than anybody else. There's no divas, and I think that's why.
Well, Duncan's above you.
Well, our drummer,
Above you.
yeah, I thought you meant anyway. Yeah, so it's good vibes, and yeah, any chance we get to play for our fans, and like we want them to feel appreciated.
No
like
two
we
ways about
appreciate
it.
Well,
them.
I can definitely attest to that as well, having met you guys. I think I got to meet you guys 3 times last year on the tour. So
Yeah,
it
you
was
remind me of
always,
somebody
yeah, it
like
was always a
I
great,
remember that.
always a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
experience and getting to see y'all. So coming back to the Worldwide Revival Project, I'm so glad to know that we have even more new music to look forward to, because this is only part 1. So part 2 is going to be coming up. And as part 1 and these songs get out to more people, what's something you hope the listeners will take away as they hear these songs?
The music is a powerful force. I mean, you never know what people are going to get from them. We pray that God uses our words and our ideas and our melodies and our videos to really impact culture, because that's why we do it. We love people. That's the base of this, what Jeff just said so eloquently and so thoroughly. But I mean, the work is called World Revival. Why are we here on the planet? God left us here to do more than just eat food and go to amusement parks, so to speak. We're here to love on people, to carry out what Matthew called the Great Commission, what God called the Great Commission in Matthew 28. And revival is a word we're all familiar with, at least especially for me growing up in the 70s, all of us, and dads both our dads were preachers, and going to tent revivals and singing at tent revivals as a kid. Oh my gosh, the list goes on. But more than that, I mean, we live in a crazy world. Times are changing weekly, daily these days, it seems. And we're praying that God would start a movement. We call it revival, call it crusades, whatever you want to call it, but a movement in the hearts of people, and that we can be just conduits and catalysts to help them get there. But ultimately, God's got to do the work. We can plant the seed, but God's got to water it, and God brings it to fruition. And but revival starts in the home. It starts in the home, and it starts in the hearts of people. We can't cross the seas till we cross the streets, my dad would say. And it's true. But we're doing a little part. We're not trying to be bigger than we think we are. We just want, Lord, use these 5 voices and hands and fingers and ideas and minds to start a great work once again, as you've done so many times before. We just want to be a part of a big one with you, Jesus.
Amen. And, in addition to the new music, obviously music has a high impact on fans and everything, but something that's really been forefront in the Christian entertainment scene is film. Film has really taken a new place. The Christian movies have gotten better, and you guys have been a part of a film series called God's Not Dead, which has incorporated the song itself. And, there's a new film coming out called God's Not Dead, and God
And
Would
this song with that film, oh boy.
Yeah, it comes out September 12th in theaters. And what can you tell us about your involvement with this new film? And what is your favorite thing about being involved in these God's Not Dead films that you guys have been a part of over the years?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how that whole thing started for us. You're talking about the films getting better and all that. Like we were asked to do the very first film over 10 years ago now.
2013, 14, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like when we got the call and we were asked to, be in a scene or whatever. I mean, like we were talking about, we were so busy touring at the time that we didn't even think it would be anything. I think we kind of forgot about it. We were on
kinda did,
tour.
yeah.
We like had the scripts, but we didn't really learn our lines, or we thought that we would just get out of the bus and there'd be like a couple of camcorders and we'd shoot something and we'd never see it again, and that would just be the end of it, because Christian films didn't really exist like that before.
But it wasn't.
And we got out of our bus the day that we filmed at a show, and it was like Hollywood movie set everywhere. We were completely
Unprepared.
We shot our scenes and parted ways with the crew and everything like that. And then it was like 6 months later probably that we were driving in the bus and get a phone call. They're like, yeah, God's Not Dead is like the #2 movie in the country this weekend.
It was crazy.
We had
Jay.
no idea that could ever even be a thing, or that we would ever be a part of something like that. And so I think like 2 or 3 million people saw the film in like one weekend, and that was just unbelievable. So anyway, it's been a minute since we were like I know the film series has kind of gone on a
Without
little
us,
bit
yeah.
without us, but we were kind of invited back into this particular film, and we actually have
3 scenes.
like 3
Yeah.
scenes and 2 songs, and we're kind of in there more than we've been in the past. So
Yeah,
we filmed most of it back in the wintertime in Nashville.
we sure
So,
did. Yeah.
yeah, it's it's coming out in September, and it'll be fun to see. It's been a little while since we've been involved in one of those.
Yeah, well, I'm looking
Definitely
forward.
cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's I've seen the final edit of the film, and I think it'll be very timely for where we are right now in our country. It's yeah, it kind of mirrors a little bit of
Yeah.
of what our country's going through in a fictional story. But yeah, it should be interesting.
Sparks the mind,
Yeah.
piques the interest.
Well, we're excited to see that. You know, we would encourage everybody to go check out the new album, Worldwide Revival Part 1, and this film when it comes out in theater September 12th. And we'll actually have links in the video here to all of that, including y'all's social media platforms and website. But guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to talk about the new record. And, you know, my prayer is with every album that you guys do is that the Lord continues to use you guys and the music to reach people for Jesus. So thank you, Michael, Jeff, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it.
Jane Kelly,
Thank
God bless you
Yeah,
guys.
appreciate your support. Thanks, guys.
So much.